We rolling! Yeah! Ladies and gentlemen, it's time to listen up to Menace's Mike Podcast.
Hello, everybody, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Here with the fourth episode of Menace's Mike coming up.
Yes, sir.
As you see, I'm here with my man Bones. We're missing our namesake, old Michael Johnson, the Menace. Is getting really close to his fight, so he's taking the night off. So you got me and Bones here to chop it up a little about the MMA, a little bit of life, a little bit about performance. What you think about that plan there, Bones?
Man, let's talk that shit, man.
Yeah, checking in with you, man. Tell me what's up with you since last time we spoke.
Yo, so last time we spoke, I remember telling you that my son's birthday was the next day.
Oh, how'd that go?
Yo, it was fucking great. He had his birthday party. That was cool. And then I took him to the Travis Scott concert that night, man, and he fucking lost it.
Yeah.
He had a blast.
Moments.
And exactly. For me, that's very important for me to be able to give the things to my son that I wasn't able to do growing up as a child. And that's not on slight on my parents. It's just that they weren't in that position to be able to provide these type of memories. So for me, it's like, I don't want to be traveling, doing all this cool shit, and then not having my son have these experiences. But granted, it was a concert, so I made sure I was sitting in a certain area. We got there early, so I wasn't around the crowds, and we left like 20, 30 minutes early from the show just to avoid any possibilities, man. But he had a blast, and for me, it was
man.
just as much as he had fun. Like now I'm at that point in life as a father where I understand what my dad said when he was like, Christmas isn't about me no more. He said, buying you gifts and doing things for you and your sister, that brings me joy. And now, like, at that moment, it really, really made sense for me. Seeing him and being able to do that for him, it made me feel like I got a birthday gift, too, and that day was really all about him. So that was dope, man.
You just triggered so much cool shit inside my head there, just with that, with that brief minute. But the biggest thing, man, parenthood.
Yeah, for sure, bro.
Parenthood. And I think I'm at the I don't know if you can relate to this, but I'm at this point in my life where, I'll experience something, and I'll be like, damn, my dad was right about some shit.
Oh, shit. A lot.
You know what I'm saying? But
stuff,
going
bro.
through it.
A lot of stuff.
Going through it, you would roll your eyes, everything.
It
but
didn't make sense.
Yeah, it's like, but he was right about some shit, and that's just, and it's just cool to kind of have those moments and have appreciation for my parents. Now that I have two kids,
Definitely.
They had 5 with perhaps a little bit less means than we have.
Same.
I just have really a deep appreciation for what they done.
I feel like because we grew up not having and lacking in certain areas, it made the value of family so much more, so much more significant. Because you look at the kids that grow up that their parents give them everything, a lot of those kids, they struggle with relating to their parents or relating to other people, and they struggle with adversity because they never had to work for shit and they don't know how it feels like to lack something. So for me, it was like I think people that grow up in those type of household, their set of values and their integrity and things in certain situations are drastically different from kids who are given everything.
Yeah, there's a little bit of entitlement, right?
And that's not a slight on the parents, because at the end of the day, that's what you want to do for your children, is put them in those
I was
going to
say something. I was going to say that, but whenever you at first there, that why do we do that? Like, the whole point of us going out there, working, grinding, getting educated, doing all this stuff, the whole point of that is to make so your kids, your children, have an easier time than you do. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, when it comes out on the back end, it's kids these days.
It is, and it is.
You know what I'm saying? So where's the balance?
I feel like the struggle with that is these kids are seeing other kids get it, and kids don't understand why they feel that way or why, because it's just jealousy. That's all it is. And we see that in grown ass men too. Like, people talk about Drake or made it from the bottom. Now you hear, well, like your parents, your mom was fucking rich, you was an actor. But everybody's bottom is all subjective. It's subjective. So my bottom and your bottom are completely different. So you don't really have a say-so in how
say
bad
that
like
again,
it's
Bones.
true.
It's so
Everybody's
true.
bottom is subjective.
It's so true.
So who are you to say that because my parents weren't together, my dad wasn't there, we were homeless, that my struggle to get to where I am in life right now isn't as significant as it was for you? That's your walk. That was your valley. My walk and my valley is drastically different. But, you know, that's just society. You know, keeping up with the Joneses, the crabs in the bucket mentality is shit. And especially in our culture, that's something that you see very often where, you know, you grow up in the hood and the kid gets a new bike. Oh, he's fucking spoiled. Yeah. Well, you're damn right. I want my child to get these things. But it's very important that in giving your children these things, you instill the right values. You instill character, you instill community, you know, you instill relationships with them and stuff like that. And you build a good human being, not off of the things that you give them, but the things that you teach them. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
So
no,
I put a lot of emphasis
Y'all
in
need
my
to tap in with
relationship.
Bones.
You feel me?
Keep going, man.
I
Keep going.
put a lot of emphasis in my son on not the things that I buy him, but the things that
I'm sorry,
teach
your
him.
son's age again?
My son's 10. He just turned
Okay,
10.
yeah.
You know, so I do that. You know, I try to get my son as much as I can because my parents was the parents that was like, if we look good, our kids are gonna look good. And if we don't look good, our kids are still gonna look good. And that's how I move. It's like, I'm not gonna be this fly ass dude, and then my son looks like he looks crazy. You know what I'm saying? And then I'm a barber.
Yeah.
How the fuck am I a barber? And then my son looks crazy. Like right now, he wants to grow his hair, and it's driving me crazy because I want to cut it because my ego is being pulled.
So you're
It's
hitting
like,
that individuality versus dad, barber, what you think of.
And it's like, I don't want people know I cut hair and they see my son's hair and he looks crazy right now.
Yeah.
But they don't know the back end is like he wants to grow his hair, and I'm trying to encourage him to find himself. And I don't want to be the dad that's like, no, you're not getting your hair because I don't want people to look at you like that. No, like however you look will never dictate how I teach him that the way that you present yourself should never dictate how people treat you. Based off of what comes off your mouth, your character, your integrity, and how you treat people, your values, that's you make people judge you off of that. You know what I'm saying? Because when I walk into rooms, I know how I look. You know what I'm saying? But when I start speaking and I have conversations with people and I build relationships with people, the perception of how they think I was when I walked to that room immediately changes.
Do you find yourself maybe catching certain people or certain demographics off guard with your demeanor and your how you approach things?
Absolutely. Perfect example. So I cut hair. I've been cutting hair for 16 years. If I have an older white gentleman that comes in the shop, I've been asked this specific question so many times. Do you know how to cut my type of hair? And it's not a slight on them, but a lot of barbers who are African American, they don't tend to lean towards learning how to cut that texture of hair.
Right,
and it's not because they don't want to, it's just because that's not what they were taught first. Perfect example, you're in a fight game. You know what I'm saying? A lot of guys, their base may be wrestling or their base may be boxing. That doesn't mean that they don't want to be better at that. It's just that this is what I learned first, so that's what I'm better at.
Right,
you know,
right,
so
right,
for
right.
me, when I first started cutting hair, my skill set was around African American textured hair, and it was easier for me to do that. So my mindset went to, I need to perfect this shit.
You got scissors cut on the job?
Yeah, I'm on that.
Yeah.
I'm on that. But see, I understood. My dad taught me, because my dad was a barber. He was like, your job, you can never call yourself a real barber if you can't cut every single person that sits in your chair. So for me, I looked at it, was like, all right, I'm great at cutting this texture of hair, but if a white gentleman walks in or a Spanish gentleman walks in with longer textured hair, I panicked. I used to panic because I was like, I don't know how to use shears. So what I did was I went to Canada. Shout out to my boy Famos, Scott Ramos. I went out to Canada for 2 weeks, two-week trips, and I shadowed him. I swallowed my pride, and I went out there and I shadowed him, and I made him teach me that because I wanted to be able to say that I'm a black barber that can cut everybody. And I can do it at a skill level just as good as I can cut a black guy that sits in my chair. I want to put just as much emphasis in making sure I cut a Spanish guy the same, and I'm able to cut a white guy or an Asian guy that comes in there too. So like I looked at it.
And you're really putting a ceiling on your earnings too.
100%.
Right?
I can't even tell you how. There's been many. When I first started, I remember one day I counted how many people I turned down, and I think I lost like $300 that day. And it hit me, it was like, if I just take the time and invest and put myself in an uncomfortable situation and force myself to grow, this is going to open up a whole nother demographic of clientele, which ultimately is going to give me more money. You know, so like I understood it was like the only way I'm going to progress is discomfort. you know, and I hated it. It was extremely
It takes courage.
It was an ego.
It takes courage.
It definitely pulled on my ego. It pulled on my pride as well, but I understood it was like, in order to be great, you got to start. Like that quote, you know?
Yeah, no,
It's
let's stay right there too, because I'm really fascinated by your craft. I think if there's a field that has their ear to the streets, as much as a barber does, you know, from music to shoes to fashion, just a good barber, I think, is well versed in all that kind of stuff. But also, I want to combine that with, you know, human performance is really fascinating to me. Obviously, I had my own way that I prepared and got ready to perform at my best. But I want to hear, you know, someone, it seems like a completely unrelated field, reaching that same feeling, like that in the zone feeling of, I don't know what it is. Maybe the clippers are running themselves. Just whenever you're in that zone and you're snapping, you're turning clients over. Tell me about that, and how do you get there?
As crazy as it now, for one thing, I would never do is I would never compare the zone of a barber to the zone of a fighter. It's drastically different. It's a lot more mental for you guys.
Drastically different?
100%. And more physical for sure. But for us, it's like, bro, like back to school time, Christmas time, you know that I'm not sitting down today. I'm not eating lunch. And I have to be at 100% the entire time. So when I have these crazy booked up days, I'm already pre-planning. I'm creating a system for myself. You know, I'm making sure my clippers are adjusted. I'm making sure all my razors, I'm making sure my station is clean. I'm making sure my schedule's on time. Everybody's on time, and I'm efficient with everything. If I got to pack a lunch or I got to make me a protein shake because I know I'm not going to eat that day, I got to make sure I do that. Because the objective is to make as much money as I can. I don't get paid by the hour. I get paid by how much time I put into and how many people I'm able to cut that day. So for me, I kind of get in that zone. Like I think the most cuts I did in a day was like 36.
What's a busy day for you right now?
Busy day for me is anywhere
36
from like,
is too much. You know that.
That's too much. 8 to 12.
Yeah, okay.
But it was 30. I was cutting 36 people at like $20 a haircut.
Right.
You know, my prices are. I'm more expensive now, so it's like I work smarter, not harder, and I'm able to take my time and really perfect my craft and really work on the art aspect of being a barber. But even to take it even a step further, now in the barber industry, you almost have to have a strong social media presence.
I know, that's where I'm at, man.
You have to, because it's a free business card for us. So years ago, when I saw the industry starting to kind of take off, shout out to like one of my mentors, like my OG Mark the barber. He kind of put me in that position. He kind of opened the door for me, and he told me, he was like, these are the things you have to do. I did so much free shit just to get my brand out there. I'm traveling to this show. I'm asking this person if I could host this show, host that battle, and I traveled around the country. But I wasn't getting paid nothing. I understood in order for me to build
out there.
Exactly. I understood in order for me to build my brand, I have to make the necessary sacrifices right now. I'm okay with not having shit, not getting paid nothing, but as over time, things begin to increase because my name got out there. People saw my consistency. I constantly was putting out work. I was putting 3-4 haircuts, pictures per day for years, you know? But I did that because it was like, for one, it's going to help build my brand. 2, it's going to help me get better as a barber. And 3, it's going to create a lot more opportunities for me to make money from not having to be behind the chair. Contrary to popular belief, no barber wants to be in the shop cutting 30, 40 people. Nobody wants to do that shit. It takes a toll on your body. Like, I'm 35 years old. My back's be hurting, my neck hurt, my feet.
But that's what I was going to say. Back whenever I started coaching, you used to be able to coach. It didn't come with all this extra shit.
Nah,
you didn't have to have this. You didn't have all that. And that's something that I'm kind of, turning the corner on right now as we speak.
I've been peeping the content. You've been consistent as fuck, and it's good quality too.
I have to. I don't want to be one of those dudes teaching double legs when I'm 55 years old. So
that's fair.
How do we build this thing out? If I could grind for a decade, stack, and then wherever that leaves me. So
exactly,
that's
and
kind of my
that's
plan.
how it kind of was for me at first. Like when I really made the decision to kind of like just jump straight into it 100%. I had a conversation with my kid's mother, and I told her, I said, "Here, this is my plan." I said, "I don't know how I'm gonna get there, but I know if I show up and I'm consistent every fucking day, that something's going to snatch. Something's going to work. It's going to click at one point in time. So I was like, I need to know right now.
Just keep hitting buttons.
Yes, I need to know right now from you. There's going to be times where I'm not going to be here. I'm going to have to work a lot of late hours. I'm going to have to travel a lot. I need to know now if you're in my corner with this, because if you're not, we need to separate right now. I was so locked in on what my goals were and what my passion was and what I wanted.
You say was.
At that time.
Okay.
Because that was the start. I'm still hungry right now. Every single day, I'm always trying to look for new ways to reinvent and make a better version of myself as Corey. Before I was trying to build bones. And the reason why I was trying to build bones is because I was insecure about who Corey was as a person. So it was easier for me to create a character and portray myself to be this person on social media instead of me dealing with the man in the mirror. So it's a lot easier to make bones, this loud.
That is beautiful, Bones.
It's the truth, though.
I really appreciate and value that self-awareness that you're giving me, man.
But it took me years
Yeah.
to see it, and it took me crashing. It took me crashing and burning to where I had to realize that, like, there can be no Bones without Corey.
Right?
But there will always be Corey without Bones. So I need to subscribe to making sure that Corey's okay. You know what I'm saying? But at that time, I was very insecure. I didn't really have direction. I just had the drive. Like, I was a guy that was like, I don't know how I'm going to get there, but I'll run through every fucking wall. When some walls, I didn't have to run through them. There could have been a way for me. There might have been a door for me to walk through or walk around, but I was so on fire that I was like, fuck this. We're going 100%. Whatever happens, something's going to work. But I did that. I was so hungry at doing that because I needed to build this perception of myself. I needed to create the character who I really wanted to be, but I wasn't willing to put the work in on my own personal life.
For yourself?
For myself.
Or for others? Yeah.
Not for myself. 100% for myself because I felt a lack.
Yeah.
There was a lack somewhere, and
there was a hole.
There was a hole there, and that stems from a lot of shit from like childhood and stuff like that, abandonment issues and things like that, and just being insecure, just growing up. So once I got into an industry, I was like, hold on, like I'm good at this. Like they kind of fuck with me.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, all right, well then, you know, they already called me Bones. Let me just blow this shit up. And it worked. But then it worked, but the ceiling there was a glass ceiling for that. Because in order for me to take it and really expound on who Bones was, Corey had to supersede who that character was. But Bones was a lot stronger in my mind and on my day-to-day than who Corey was. So that's when the ego kicked in.
Yeah, Bones is the cool street guy.
You know what I'm saying? And it took me having to lose a lot of things, lose a lot of relationships, and have to be sitting there in my room looking at myself like, who is this nigga? Because this ain't Corey. The things that you subscribe to are not the things that you really hold value in. So what are you gonna do about it? All that shit changed for me when I went to fucking Lebanon. I got picked up by this company and they flew me out there to shoot content for them. And I went out there, and prior to that trip, my mindset was like, I gotta get this money. That was I thought that the more money, the more things, tangible things that I had, that would justify and solidify success for me and for my children. Now, when I went to Lebanon, it showed me that the things that I subscribe to and place value in mean absolutely nothing.
Oh.
It don't mean shit.
Yeah.
And what put it into perspective for me is a story. I'll tell you real quick. I was by the coast like years ago, Lebanon and Beirut. They had this huge explosion from a plant. I was in that area where it happened. There's still buildings. There's still a 4-season building that's completely closed.
Wait, how long ago?
This was last year, August.
Because I remember an explosion over there, but go ahead.
2 years ago. Sorry, 2 years ago. Yeah, it was huge, but that happened years ago.
Yeah.
But I was out there 2 years ago, and it's still fucked up. And I'm walking along the coast. We had just finished eating like this crazy extravagant dinner, right, at this fire restaurant. But when we walked outside in that restaurant, I felt like, all right, I felt like I was in Miami. But as soon as I walked outside, reality hit me again. I saw the poverty all around me. So I was walking, and I hear this faint voice to the left of me, and I looked out, and it's a child, probably 7 years old. And he's trying to sell me, like, you know those little prom flowers that are like wooden? Yeah. He's trying to sell that to me. Mind you, coach, this is afternoon time. This kid should be in school. Now, I look to the locals, and I tell the kid, I don't have no money. Because I never carry money international. I don't have any money. But he's still there. Now, the people who I'm walking with, I guess because they're used to it, it didn't have any effect on them, so they just kept walking and was ignoring him. When I tried to keep walking, the kid grabbed my hand. And when he grabbed my hand the way my son holds my hands. And it fucked me up. He grabbed my fingers. And it fucked me up because it reminded me of my child. And then it put me in the perspective of what does a father have to be going through to send his son out when he's supposed to be at school to sell these flowers. And then I saw the father. And then they saw the look on my face and gave me money for me to give to the kid. I had to walk away. I broke down crying. I broke down crying because at that moment, it put everything into perspective for me. It made me see that, like, Bones, the things that you wanted, Corey, the things that you wanted and subscribed to and chased don't mean shit. The things that really mean things in life is your family, your community, your relationship with God, your integrity, your values, and your systems. Those are the things that make you rich. Money don't make you rich.
Nah, man.
Money does not make you rich.
Which is also why people need to travel more, too.
It gives you perspective.
And people need to travel more.
It gives you so much perspective. And that trip, to this day, that trip was one of the most impactful moments of my entire life because it completely changed. It gave me a whole different lens on how I could view life and how I viewed myself.
And what it means, right?
And what it means, what life really, really, truly means. And I feel like society now, a lot of people lose sight of that. Because social media, everybody's trying to keep up with the Joneses and shit.
Well, I think a big part too is just what you spoke of too. A lot of these people. By the way, these are my new Meta Ray-Ban Meta View glasses here. So let me.
I'm gonna
try them out a little bit. Maybe
cut
with these on.
I might have to check it out. That's the ones that record, right? Yeah. I'm gonna try that out.
But yeah, I think just I consider myself a citizen of the earth, and it's just like little moments like that you speak about whenever I travel it's really eye-opening, and it's really really gives us a sense of how insignificant we really are. You know what I mean?
100%.
We're just a little fucking dot, little speck, whatever. But
I had the experience I had. Another experience I had that kind of helped shape that too. Fucking took some shrooms. Yo, took some shrooms and sat out in the mountains in the Smoky Mountains on the log cabin.
Where, Tennessee?
Yeah. And I'm watching the log cabin breathe.
Oh, you solved everything,
now,
huh?
The mountains is moving.
You solved everything.
I saw everything. But the thing that was so beautiful about it was it showed me how insignificant I really am in this world. In the sense of like, we're always taught to be our biggest coach, to be our biggest fans. And I will never tell somebody not to be that way. But in that same breath, also remember that we all collectively play a part in things working for the greater good. All of us. In the moment that you put yourself in front of the other human being that you're around, you're stopping that progression. You're stopping that progression.
Or you're gonna miss it. I think a lot of people just go with the inertia of the day, of the whatever, instead of stopping.
Being
just
intentional.
Like both situations that you've explained, slow the fuck down, man. You ain't going nowhere.
Just take it all in.
And appreciate what's going on around you. And
Coach, man, being present is a skill set.
Yes.
That is a skill set, and that is something that's like a muscle. You gotta practice it.
That's one of the top 3 things.
Cause you ever been to a concert?
That's one of the top 3 things I convey to my fighters.
I'll go to this fucking Travis Scott concert, right? And I'm talking to my son. He's 10. I talk to him like a grown ass man.
Mine too, yeah.
And I said to him, man, big man, look around. And I'm looking at the arena, and it's thousands of flashlights and phones out. I said, these people in here paid hundreds, some paid thousands of dollars to watch this man perform, and nobody's watching him. The only thing they're concerned about is recording this to show their friends who aren't here. I said, take this moment in and be present. Embrace what's going on. Feel your emotions and take in this moment, because you'll never be here ever again in your life. You will never be able to duplicate this with these people, with me at this very exact moment. Take it all in.
What are your cues? What are your cues to be mindful of that? To be present in the moment, just kind of day-to-day tactics you might use.
Honestly,
you have a cue word? Do you have something?
It's just,
or is it just what you trained yourself?
It just be gratitude that I try to practice. You know what I'm saying? Like, first thing I do when I wake up in the morning is I try to, I have my prayer before I touch my phone. Like I said, I try to be proactive instead of reactive to the world, But throughout the day, like, I have my moments where I sit down and I just random, like, God, I thank you.
Right.
Because I remember where I started from. So to see where I'm at right now, I can do. People ask me, "Yo, how you been?" I say, "I'm doing good." If I wasn't, I say, "I'm doing great." If I wasn't, I'd be ungrateful. You know what I'm saying? I'm saying, and I'm saying that not because my life is going perfect, but because I'm still living. And my father always says, every day you wake up is another opportunity to be great. So
you got an old soul,
shit,
man.
I take that shit in stride.
I fuck with it. You got an old soul. For those of you that don't know, most of you probably don't know that me and Bones, prior to 2 episodes ago, have never met each other. So I just want to kind of mention that and just as to the rapport that we have and things like that. So
this is a genuine, to the people that's watching, this is a genuine conversation.
That was real shit.
This is a genuine, and for me, like, the way that my father raised me is like, from a child, is when you're in a room, when you're around the presence of your elders, you shut the fuck up. And you listen. You know, you ask and you speak when you're spoken to.
You go in, you shake everyone's hand when you
look
walk
them right in the
room.
face. My dad has always taught me that. You shake a man's hand, you look him straight in the eyes. I've never been intimidated to do that.
Little things, baby.
I've never, but it is. Those are the little things. And I thank God that I did listen to that, because it's allowed me to gain a lot of knowledge that I probably wouldn't have had I kept my mouth closed out of being intimidated by who's in the room.
Right.
Like, and I think that has also played a big factor into me being a barber as well. Like, my job is to be 100% no matter who sits in my chair, whether it's the local cable guy or if I'm cutting the Tobias Harris from the 76ers for his wedding.
Right.
You know, like, my job is to be present and to be Corey 100% no matter who is in the room. I don't let who walks in the room intimidate me, because I'm secure with who I am in any room that I walk into. So, like, these are things that I try to teach my son and try to pour that into him, because I'm like, I'm 35 and I think like this.
Right.
If I can get this little nigga to think like this at 10, by the time he's 35, we're talking some wild shit.
Yeah, just keep repping it, man.
You know,
just
but
keep repping it.
My dad poured these things into me because he didn't even know that he was doing it, but he just gave me the little bit that he could, and that little bit that he could has got me to where I'm at. So the things that my cues is gratitude. I practice gratitude every single day, because I know that my life and the things that I have is a gift, and just like gifts are given, they can be taken away. So that's how I live. That's how I live my life with gratitude. Just like with this shit right here.
Yeah.
Like, I'm grateful to have a platform to be able to sit and talk to somebody that's accomplished, and you're the best at what you do in your field. You know, to sit down and talk to somebody like that, for me that's an honor. You know, I don't take it lightly.
Brother.
That's why when your name is Greg. Side note, that's my dad's name, which is wild.
Yeah.
But I still, if you notice, I still call you Coach.
Yeah.
Because I respect what you do, and I have to honor that when I'm around you. You know what I'm saying? So
respect.
And even on that note, 3 times national champ.
Yeah.
3-time national champ. How old were when you started wrestling?
Ooh. I don't know the answer to that question.
You just always was there?
No, people tell me it's like I was 3, I was 4. People as in my family tells me I was 3 or 4. But I don't, that seems really young to me. So it's just like, I don't know. The earliest memory I have, I was already wrestling. You know what I mean?
It was always there.
Yeah, I was already wrestling. It was like, it wasn't really an option if you're going to try out for the wrestling team this year or not. Like, my dad coached us in our basement. And we just did the thing. We had a little private club. But one thing I'll give my dad credit for a lot of things, especially as a coach. As a coach and as a father, because in the grand scheme of things, as I look back in hindsight, I love my dad dearly, so I'm not bashing him, but where we come from, our people aren't always equipped to talk about and do the things that you're talking about. So with what my dad had, he did a phenomenal job with me and all my siblings and my mother too. But once I got to high school wrestling, he pretty much severed all ties of coaching me. It was pretty impressive. To this day, I'm still impressed by it.
He had to do that, though.
He probably did. I didn't expect it to be as smooth as it was, though. And then, and obviously that extended into college. But you know, my dad never paid for a ticket to any sporting events ever. You know how we are.
If it's free, it's me.
But I can remember being on the mat at the NCAA championship, wrestling and like walking and somehow seeing my dad, my father, right there. And he didn't have to say anything. He didn't have to do anything. I just knew. You know what I mean? And that was, I don't know, it's just like an old trigger for me that kind of went off in those kind of moments. But yeah.
That's a beautiful thing. So I got to ask you a question. I've asked a couple of my friends. This question I asked them is specifically for certain people. So, for one, before I ask you the question, when did you know that you was that guy?
I don't know if I ever did, to be honest with you.
Okay.
I was throughout high school and most of my college career, I was really shy.
I remember you telling me that.
But that didn't come with a lack of confidence.
Okay, I get it.
It was probably more so not understanding or learning how to express myself.
It was a social aspect more so than anything.
Probably.
I feel that.
Probably, yeah.
I feel that. So, Coach, if the 15-year-old you could see where you are right now, the coach, the father, what would he say about you?
That's a really good question. You know what? Whenever I was 15, in school we were assigned a project which I thought was weird at the time. But we were assigned a project of writing our own obituary. Okay. Obviously, adolescent male is pretty sports dominant. I think I'm the first person to die with an Olympic gold medal and a Super Bowl ring. Now, I had a very successful college wrestling career. I could have made the Olympic team. I don't like getting into that type of territory. But it wasn't a stretch to say that I could have made an Olympic team and made a run at that medal. The year I graduated, I also worked out for the Pittsburgh Steelers. That following year, the Steelers won the Super Bowl. So I think it was just kind of ironic. Those two things that I remember writing down were this close. If the wind blew one way or the other, then I could attain them. However, that kind of leads off into my current career is being that those two things didn't happen. MMA was an opportunity for me to work at sports at the very highest level, at the very professional level. So that's kind of my way to supplement what my obituary was supposed to say, right? But I think the 15-year-old me would be not shocked, but he would be pretty amazed about what I'm able to do personally, interpersonally. I think I possess power that even I haven't even actualized yet. I think I can be capable of creating a lot of impact on people, on youth, and on this world. And I believe that, and that's kind of how I set out my days.
So, what do you want your legacy to be? When you're no longer here,
I want to be Grayson and Mara's dad. I want to be Grayson and Mara's dad. That's it.
See, I fuck with that.
Everyone talk, the 3 NCAA titles, that shit's getting further and further away. All these kids wrestling in college don't even know me right now, dog. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, I just want to do good by my kids, and if you know how it is too.
Do.
Anyway,
I do.
To most people, I'm already Grayson's dad, so
exactly.
You know what I mean?
So when I first read that question, I immediately, I internalized it and asked myself that, what would 15-year-old Corey think about 35-year-old Corey 20 years later? What would he have to say, And my first thing was like, damn, like, I wanted to be like when I was a kid. When they asked you like, "What do you want to be when you grow up?" I drew a picture of me in a 49ers jersey with the number 80. I wanted to be a Hall of Fame wide
You want to
receiver
be Jerry
like
Rice.
Jerry Rice.
You want to be Jerry Rice.
That's what I wanted. I wanted to be a Hall of Fame wide receiver like Jerry Rice. Football never worked out, and the thing that I love the most about that question is the first emotion that pulls on you is accountability. Mm-hmm. Because it's like, damn.
Did you do what you said you was
do
going
what
to
you
do?
said you were going to do? And because you didn't, or if you did do it, did you do it at the level of what you said or you thought you'd be able to do it at? And it's kind of funny. It's like that quote that they say, God laughs at man when he tries to tell them what their planning for their lives are. And I had my plan, but I thank God that it didn't go that way because, like you said, I had the moment after I had that moment of like, I guess slight anxiety, like, damn, I was immediately met and overwhelmed with extreme gratitude because I'm a fucking good dad. And my children are my anchors in my life. And if I never accomplish any goal that I've written down on my wall or on my vision boards, when I die, the only thing that I care about is what does Kai and Nova say about Corey.
Yeah, that's
What do they say? What kind of father were you? What kind of man were you? What kind of impact did you leave in your community? Because like I was saying earlier, these are what my values are now. My values as a child was I wanted to be famous.
Right.
I wanted a car. I wanted to be a Hall of Famer.
Of course.
But now as I've grown and I've matured, I've been able to see like, nah, man, like this is exactly where you're supposed to be. Yeah. God has you exactly where he intended you to be at. Now what? Because once you ask that question, it ultimately, now it motivates you after it. It keeps you accountable.
It's a circle.
It's a circle. It keeps you accountable. Then the comfort comes from the things that you have accomplished. And then it's like, all right, but like you said, I don't even feel like I've tapped into or even scratched the surface of what my potential is. So I love that question. And I specifically ask it to a lot of men because a lot of men don't have those outlets to talk about these certain type of subjects.
Right.
And if you do talk about it, society, the reason why I did get that anxiety is because I was comparing what success looks like in the world to my life. And like I was saying earlier, it's all subjective.
Yeah.
Successful to some people may be, I just want to wake up today and not get high. I want to wake up today and go to work. I want to wake up today and just be dad. I want to wake up today and do 5 haircuts, to do 1 haircut. I want to wake up today and train these kids. I want to teach this kid how to get this double leg takedown. You know what I'm saying? I want to teach this kid how to properly sprawl or how to bear walk. Those are different things. You know
sure
what I'm
you
saying?
don't know how to fight bones?
Nah, I mean, bro, I watch a lot, bro.
I know you
love
do.
it.
I can tell.
Bro.
I can tell
I
how
watch
you
it a
talk.
lot. I did the boxing thing, but I've always had the respect for combat. I understand it's like, granted, it's a sport, but it's not a game.
Right.
And I understand if you can't give 100%, bro, don't take your ass in there.
Well, that's kind of where it's at too. It's like, what percentage is fighting and what percentage is athletics. I personally have a very athletic mind. Some people approach it purely from a fight standpoint, but there's many ways to get it done.
I agree. Speaking of fights, man, we got a crazy card coming up. PFL just bought over Bellator.
Oh yeah, let's pull that PFL card up. We got a little champ versus champ action going on.
So what fight are you looking forward to the most? Because I got my top 2 right now.
Okay, so Aaron Pico closing out the prelims there. I really like. That seems to be a pretty good fight with Gabriel Braga.
I like Pico, man, because he had that rough start, but
ain't that something?
But he's progressively
too fast, too soon, and
he's progressively gotten better. His striking is fucking
really
amazing
good.
now. His wrestling I feel like the total package is finally starting to really come into itself.
I think you're right. I think they had a really big prospect that they probably rushed along too fast.
But I'm glad they stuck with him.
Yeah, no, for sure.
I'm so glad they stuck with him, bro.
I really like Aaron Pico as a fighter, and he's a good man too. But AJ McKee, damn, this is a card, man.
It's a fucking card, man.
AJ McKee versus Clay Collard. I think he'll whoop Clay Collard.
I would love to see AJ in the UFC, though. I ain't gonna hold you.
Yeah, I know. He's
I would
pretty
love
damn
to see
good.
it, bro. I would love to see, and I love the relationship he has with his father too.
Yeah, it's cool.
I really like
cool.
that, bro.
Romero coming in, but no. My 2 guys, I got Jason Jackson, the Bellator champ, taking on Ray Cooper III. They couldn't find a champ. They couldn't find a champ to fight Jason Jackson. So they went down the list a little bit, but
so that's a catch weight.
yeah, that's the only way they can get someone to take it.
Jason gonna fight anybody too.
Jason's gonna fight anyone. He's gonna whoop
fight
him.
anybody.
He's gonna whoop him. I'm gonna take that back, but he's gonna show up.
He's gonna show up.
And Impa Kasagane, I think we talked about Impa Kasagane versus Johnny Eblin is such a kind of an entertaining, intriguing is probably a better word, intriguing matchup to me. So we spoke about that spinning back kick knockout Impa suffered.
Yeah.
And there for a while it kind of defined his career.
Overshadowed him.
Yeah,
for sure.
So he went, back to the drawing board. He was homeless for a minute. He was sleeping in his car for a minute,
But isn't that how the best stories?
Why is that? Yeah.
Isn't that? But that's how it is, though.
Yeah,
But that's what we were talking about earlier. That's just what we were talking about. Everybody's bottom is different.
Yeah.
Every Pico's bottom was having those couple of losses, and his bottom was that viral moment.
It was viral,
but
too.
the difference between them and a lot of other people is they kept fucking showing up.
They stayed down.
They kept fucking showing.
Yeah.
And now look, this is the biggest. I think this is the biggest card either one of these organizations I've ever put on.
There can't be a bigger one.
Me personally, I
and
feel
Eblin's a good champ, a very good champ too. So I don't want to sound like I'm dogging on him, but Impa's just my guy.
And it's a story.
It's a beautiful story.
A good story is always going to pull on the fan.
So did you know he won the PFL tournament last year? But did you know he started that tournament as a prospect? He wasn't in the tournament when it first started.
I didn't know that.
And then he won a showcase bout, maybe two, and then a bunch of guys got popped for performance-enhancing drugs.
And that created the opportunity for him.
That put him in the tournament.
And that's the fucking stories. That's what I'm saying.
Right.
It's granted that knockout was fucking wild. It was crazy. Mm-hmm. But he has the opportunity now to build a story that's going to be fucking insane.
No,
if he can follow through and get this win, fuck that knockout. That we looking at a Netflix series.
No,
that's what we looking at. We looking at a fucking Netflix series right now.
I saw something. It's one of the more impressive things I've seen one of my fighters post on social media. But someone had posted that. I don't know if making fun of Impa was the right word, but he approached that. He approached it head on. He was like, "Yes, sir, that was me." And what are we gonna do? We're gonna move forward.
And that's what it's got to be.
You know what I mean?
That's what it's got to be. That shit dead.
Yeah.
You can't do nothing about it now. It's there.
It's done.
What am I going to do? I'm going to sit here and fucking cry? Or I'm going to adjust and make corrections to that so it doesn't happen again.
Yeah.
Now, if we go out there and get kicked like that again, we in some trouble.
Nah, man.
But that was like a once-in-a-lifetime type shit.
Hopefully.
Hopefully.
Nah, Impa's a great dude to work with. He's a great person. He's a good man, man.
So my first one is, bro,
what you got?
That fucking Yoel and Thiago, man.
That's a nice fight.
I feel like the reason why I feel like it's a great fight is because I feel like both fighters in a position where they have nothing to lose. They have nothing to lose. Santos is over there, just got out from the UFC. Romero's kind of still, I feel like he's still trying to find his footing in.
A little bit it seems that way, right?
That's what but then he's older too. But then Yoel, he's such a fucking tank.
Dog.
And it's like you got to run him over to get him up out of there.
Yeah, he's just stretching this shit out.
But I feel if somebody could put him out of there, that boy Santos could put him out of there because Santos got that power. His power translated from every time he switched weight classes, it didn't matter. If he touched you, he putting you to sleep.
I think to beat him, I don't know if you recall Phil Davis beating Yoel Romero. I think Phil has the recipe, and you got to make him wrestle.
Well,
as ironic as it sounds, you got to make him wrestle.
It is ironic, but he's also older,
right?
For one, and Yoel has been known to gas, just like that Kennedy fight when he sat his ass on that stool and didn't want to get up.
Is that when he pooped himself too?
That should have been a DQ. He didn't want to get up, and he came out and knocked him out. So his gas tank has always been a thing, but he's got that one punch knockout power, and people never wanted to wrestle with him. But then Phil's gas tank is immaculate, and it's always been that way. Phil's never thrown 100% in all of his punches. He was always, I'm going to touch you, then I'm going to take you down. And I'm going to just grind you out. And then when you get back up, now these touches is going to have a lot more impact because you're gassed. So I do feel like that's
Bones,
a
I'm
good,
looking for an assistant coach, man. You need a job, man.
man, get out of here,
You
man.
be dicing that shit up, man.
Bro,
What else? Give me one more. Give me one more. One more
fight-
fight you might be interested.
Well,
in.
I don't know who the other guy that Cooper. I don't really know a lot about him, but I'm still going with Jason. I've been following Jason's career since he was, like we said, sweeping up cages for fights down in fucking Miami for fight time. So
Yeah,
I'm
it's a beautiful story,
I'm
too.
going with Jason no matter what. I don't give a fuck who he's fighting. I'm picking him to win.
You got the woman's goat out there, Clarissa Shields. You know, she's supposed to come train with us.
That was my Clarissa. That's my dog.
We never end up connecting.
No, that's my actual. That's like my homegirl. Like phone number. I talk to her after every single one of her fights.
Yeah?
So backstory to that is, she's from Flint, Michigan.
Yeah.
So one of my best friends.
She's from Michigan. Yeah.
One of my best friends is Andre Durrell. So that's why I know a lot about the fight game and stuff like that from cutting him up and going all the fights. And I ended up meeting Clarissa through that. So I'm going with Clarissa. That's my dog.
Let me backtrack too. I don't want to say she was supposed to come train here with us. I spoke to one of her trainers at length, and nothing ever came of it, which is fine and is normal. You know,
I'm going with Clarissa, man. All day.
Yeah.
I'm biased.
Yeah.
Call it what you want. I'm
not?
biased. That's a friend. So I'm going with her. And I really hope Pico does good, man. I like that guy. I'm a story guy.
Yeah.
I'm a story guy. When it comes to shit like that, I love guys that show perseverance. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like Pico,
this guy, like, I want to root for that guy.
Pico and Emperor, I feel like those are guys that prove in the MMA run where they say, like, boxers, they lose a fight and they get thrown out.
Mm-hmm.
But losing a fight, a lot of times, like what Connor said, you either win or you learn. And these guys have clearly shown that I've taken these losses and have gotten progressively better. And another example of that is fucking Bader. Bader, when he was in the UFC, things didn't go his way. Comes to Bellator, light heavyweight champ, and he was a heavyweight champ too. But my question is this: if Bader stays in UFC, does he have that same level of success over time?
No.
No?
No.
He beat a lot of guys though.
Yeah.
Now a champ,
John Jones,
I don't know. I mean, yeah. And they fought. Him and John did fight, and John made that look pretty easy.
I'm gonna say no. I don't think he has the same level of success at the UFC. It's not, in my mind anyway. It's not so much. It's the depth of competition. Like you can jump into Bellator, jump into pre-PFL,
beat a couple top guys,
whatever.
And you're right there.
Right, and you can get a good win. Now, if we're talking about the UFC, is you're gonna fight this guy, and then it's gonna get progressively harder.
It's another dog, and another dog, and another dog.
I just don't think Bellator had that.
So who you got for that fight with him and Ferreira?
I'm gonna go with Bader. I always bet with the wrestlers.
How old is Ferreira? Can we pull that up? And see how old is Bader? Because Bader's
getting up there. I bet
he's up
Bader's
there too. Because he's grade up.
Bader's 40.
Is he 40 now? Because he was pretty old when he fought Fedor. Also, I remember that was like these guys are pretty. They're up there in age.
Who am I looking up? Their name or age?
Ryan Bader.
Ryan Bader.
And then the main of his opponent Ferreira. Because Bader is
Ferreira was a finalist, right?
Mm-hmm.
Was a finalist. Then he wasn't. Then he was another. He won it again this year.
Ryan Bader, he's 40.
Yeah.
40 years old. And the other guy, I'm sorry.
Heenan Faharia.
Ferraria.
Yeah, the guy who he's fighting for
Gotcha.
the main event. I feel like that's I feel like it's gonna be an entertaining fight if that guy can stop some of the takedowns. And I feel the only reason he might be able to neutralize that is because of his length and then Bader's age. Because Ferrer is a really big heavyweight.
Yeah.
He's a really big
No, I agree. I think I'm curious to see how this whole event's gonna go off, man. PFL in Saudi Arabia, I think the Saudis are going to roll the carpet out, and the PFL is going to do a good job. What concerns me a little bit, though, is after this marquee event, is PFL going to be able to sustain a quality product when it comes time to grind cards out week after week? Well, not a week after week, but consistently. You feel me?
And even when speaking about that, with this big card, Ngannou has to have a fight this year for PFL at the end of the year. Does he fight Bader? Because who else is there to fight? Or is he gonna fight a boxer that's gonna do the crazy different rules type shit?
Right. The two most posted people by PFL are Francis Ngannou and whatever one of those Paul brothers. Those are the two most posted guys that they put on their stuff, and neither of them have fought for him. I don't know if Francis is kind of in that kind of ambassador role primarily. In functionality, he is, right?
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Because I feel like after this fight,
boxing money, man.
I feel 100%. But I feel like after this fight, what does PFL do next?
Oh yeah, what happens?
What is the big card after that? Like what are they doing? Because I feel like this is kind of like all the eggs in one basket type of card to me.
Oh, this is it. This is their coming out party.
Their coming out party, but is it going to be the closing?
Let's hope.
The closing card.
Let's hope.
As well.
I am reserving judgment. I really like to think that the people that are in charge of PFL and got this deal done are poised to maintain a quality MMA product. It is vital. It is crucial to the survival of the sport to have this option.
Other than UFC.
Right.
Okay.
Because
I was literally about to ask you, do you think that having the PFL is good for MMA?
Yes. I there for a while. I was talking to one of my partners there a little bit ago, and I asked him because I kind of going to all the Bellator shows. I kind of sense like people just at some point stop caring, and like I don't have a problem if you're not good at your job. I have a problem with whenever you know a good job's not being done and you're indifferent or you don't care and it reflects you. But I had asked someone that negotiates with Bellator a lot. I was like, is a poorly run Bellator better than no Bellator? The answer was probably yes. But
that's a fucking good question.
Yeah.
That's a good question. That's a very, very, very good question because I think that the UFC is so strong and the perception of if you don't have a belt here, you're not really a champ.
Right. I mean,
it's so big to that.
What's what people say? People
now,
say, do you do UFC? They don't even know.
They don't even say MMA. Yeah. So do you think that having the UFC being, for the most part, pretty much monopolizing the market, do you feel like that's good or it's bad for MMA? Because
it's probably bad.
I feel like it's horrible.
It's bad.
I feel like, but then again, the thing that sucks about it is that if you were to transition over to more of a boxing system, now you got the promotion issues. And the thing that makes the UFC so great is that the best fight the best. If you want to get up and be the champ,
they do a good job at making fights.
And
yes.
like I seen somebody say, if two fighters get into an argument, this fight's happening.
Right.
We're making that fight happen. Like what happened with Jamal Charlo getting slapped by Caleb Plant. If somebody got slapped in UFC like that and neither one of them had a fight, that fight's fucking happening.
Right.
But here we are a year later and Jamal Charlo is about to fight Canelo. And Caleb Plant's been calling him out for months wanting to smoke, but that fight's not happening. So it's kind of like, it's like a bittersweet. It's like, fuck, do we want to have a union or
yes.
We want to have a union for MMA?
Yes.
But it's just like, I feel like the UFC, like they keep everybody to them. So now it's like we get a guy like Pico who's not getting to fight guys. We get a guy like AJ that's not being able to fight.
Individual episode, but yes, absolutely.
AJ's at what? He's what, 145?
Yeah.
Bro, come on.
Absolutely.
Him to get in there to fight a Volk or Ilia Topuria or even if he were to drop
in the mix, yeah.
Like I would fucking love to see him or see Pitbull in the UFC. You know what I'm saying? I feel like that'd be great, and it just sucks that we can't get these people to kind of like these two organizations to come together. Like, bro, like if we put these big fights together, it's great for both of us.
Everybody. That's the thing too. It caps these fighters' earning potential, man. It's
this shit reminds me of? This shit reminds me of WWF and fucking WCW back in the day. WWF had The Rock and Stone Cold. WCW had Kevin Nash. It had Sting. Had Hulk Hogan.
That's when NWO first came out.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But you remember what happened when the UFC bought when WWF bought WCW? How it fucking exploded, or when they would do those cross promotion
Well, we
fights.
passed that phase though.
It's like
We passed that.
It sucks, and I think that if this PFL shit is not, if that boat's not being, if that train's not able to be sustained, what happens to these fighters?
Well,
now you got guys like Michael Venom who literally said, he was like, bro, my whole career, the goal was to get to the UFC.
Well, there's a lot of people in that position right now. Like, I have a lot of Bellator fighters. I still don't know what their future is. I don't know.
Nobody know. And they don't know.
I don't know what Bellator's schedule looks like moving forward. I don't know what their contracts look like. So
bro, I genuinely feel for those guys.
Me too.
I feel for them because, like, bro, you showing up every day, you're busting your ass, and you're doing whatever you can to put yourself in the best position to prove that you're the best at this weight class.
Just to be like,
and you're never gonna get it.
You know what? And a lot of it,
or right now, you're not getting it.
And a lot of it has nothing to do with who you beat or how you perform.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of it doesn't. It's just, do we want to take on this contract or not? And if you got a guy that's ranked, I don't know, 4, 5, 6 in the division, and he's got a heavy contract, then
now what?
Yeah, he's kind of out.
I mean, look, but random the fight, bro. I can't wait to see Michael Venom Page and Kevin Holland fight, man.
What is that? 300?
That's 299. That's in Miami.
Yeah.
That's on the undercard for Sean O'Malley.
Is that March or April?
That's March.
March.
I can't wait for that shit.
You going?
I'm probably going to my living room. Watch my fucking living room. Unless I can get some tickets, I'm gonna be right at the crib.
You got something? You got something to close it up? Close up shop, Ben. You got anything?
No, you guys did a great show. I love that part in the beginning when you were talking about everybody's going through that same thing. I love a quote. You can drown in 7 inches. You can drown in 7 feet, but you're still drowning.
That's a fact. I like that. That's a bar. That's a fucking bar right there, my boy.
So here we go, Bones. Thank you for coming on. Why am I thanking you? It's our show.
Coach,
but
man.
Appreciate it, man.
I appreciate you for the conversation, man.
We'll do it again here soon, yeah?
We have to. Oh, hold on. One thing. What you think about all these older women dating these young ass athletes now? Because
older women.
These older women. I seen Lil Duval.
I like older women.
I do too. Lil Duval put up a post, and he was showing all the age differences from the women that are dating these young athletes, like 20, 30 years old. And he was like, now, if this was men doing it. Maybe they just need
someone responsible, man.
Man, please. It would be one thing if these women weren't known for being with a whole bunch of other dudes.
I can't get down with that.
I can't do that. I can't do that knowing, like, bro, you done mess with this dude, this dude. I got to play him. No. I fuck around and play this dude in the game, and he going to ask me, talk to me about my girl. Hell no, man. Hell no. People was coming at me crazy about that shit in the comments. So I'm like, bro, I don't get how you get all this money. You get all this bread. You're a hot commodity now, and the first thing you do is go after a woman that other dudes done paid for years. I don't get that shit. I don't get it whatsoever.
No, I don't either.
I don't know if it's more of a flex or just lack of security with yourself, but on that note, man, It's been real, Coach.
All right, cheers, brother.
It's been real, man. Y'all tune in next week, man. We back at it again. Shout out to my dog Mike, man. Do your fucking thing, boy. Let's go out here and get this W, baby.
Impact Dental Designs with the sponsor too. Holla at your boys.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Big Ben behind the 1s and 2s. Dropping the bars, man. We love you, man. Appreciate y'all.
We rollin'! Yeah! Ladies and gentlemen, it's